In this section, we are going to be talking about the basic emotions. And as you probably know, there are dozens of emotions. And those emotions include anger, contempt, enthusiasm, envy, fear, frustration, disappointment, embarrassment, disgust, happiness, hate, hope, jealousy, joy, love, pride, surprise, sadness, and go on and on. Here I want you to refer to PowerPoint 4.6. Numerous researchers have tried to limit them to all of these emotions to a fundamental set. But some argue that it makes no sense to think in terms of basic emotions, because even emotions we really experience, such as shock, can have a powerful effect on us. It's unlikely psychologists or philosophers will ever completely agree on a set of basic emotions or even on whether there is such a thing. However, many researchers have agreed on 6 essentially universal emotions. They are anger, fear, sadness, happiness, disgust, and surprise. Some even plot them along a continuum: happiness, surprise, fear, sadness, anger, and disgust. The closer two emotions are to each other on this continuum, the more likely people will confuse them. We sometimes mistake happiness for surprise, but rarely do we confuse happiness and disgust. Look at PowerPoint 4.7, the basic moods. Positive and negative affect, that's AFFECT. One way to classify emotions is whether they are positive or negative. Positive emotions express a favorable evaluation of feeling, such as joy and gratitude. Now, let's talk about positive affect. The mood dimension, consisting of positive emotions such as excitement, self-assurance, cheerfulness at the high end, with boredom, sluggishness, and tiredness at the low end. Negative emotions have negative affect. The mood dimension consisting of nervousness, stress, anxiety at the high end, with relaxation, tranquility, and poise at the low end. Now, if you go to PowerPoint 4.8, positivity offset, that's POSITIVITY, at zero input, when no stimulus is provided, most people experience a mildly positive mood. In fact, positive moods tend to be more common than negative ones. The degree to which people experience positive and negative emotions can vary across cultures. So, we ask ourselves, what are the functions of emotions and moods? If you go to PowerPoint 4.9, we ask ourselves the questions: do emotions make us irrational? How often had you heard someone say, "Oh, you're just being emotional"? You might have been offended. But these observations suggest rationality and emotion are in conflict, and that if you exhibit emotion, you are likely to act irrationally. Kind of makes sense. One team of authors argues that displaying emotions such as sadness to the point of crying is so toxic to a career that we should leave the room rather than allow others to witness it. These perspectives suggest the demonstration or even experience of emotions can make us seem weak, brittle, or even irrational. However, research is increasingly showing that emotions are actually critical to rational thinking. You feel something first, and then you act on it. You don't see a thought, you feel it, believe it or not. And there has been evidence of such a link for a long time. Now, you've got to have the ability to experience emotions to be rational. Our emotions provide important information about how we understand the world or perceive the world around us. The key to good decision making is to employ both thinking and feeling our decisions, almost at the same time. So then the question comes up, do emotions make us ethical? Well, people who are behaving ethically are at least partially making decisions based upon their emotions and feelings. So if you go to PowerPoint 410, Sources of Emotions and Moods, it talks about personality. You've got personality. Moods and emotions have a trait component attached to them. Most people have built-in tendencies to experience certain moods and emotions more frequently than others do. People also experience the same emotions with different intensities. People also differ in affect intensity, or how strongly they experience their emotions. Affectively intense people experience both positive and negative emotions more deeply than others who don't. When they're sad, they're really sad. And when they're happy, they're really happy. Now, I'm not suggesting they're manic. I'm suggesting that they experience emotions differently than others do, or at least that others show. Now go to PowerPoint 411 and Exhibit 4.2. And it talks about the day of the week and time of the day. Mood and emotion can be affected by the timing of stimulus. Look at Exhibit 4.2 on time. While we commonly think of morning or evening people, the majority of the population tends to exhibit a similar pattern. Moods usually start out low in the morning, peak during the day, and then decline in the night. No matter what time a person goes to bed or gets up in the morning, the peak of a positive mood effect typically occurs midway between waking and sleeping times. Now go to Exhibit 4.3, PowerPoint 4.12. Now we're talking about negative affect. It shows little fluctuation throughout the day. Now, let's talk about day. Exhibit 4.3 again. People tend to be in their worst moods, the highest negative affect and lowest positive affect early in the week, and their best moods later in the week. This trend appears to be true in several other cultures as well, if you look at Exhibit 4.3. Weather. When do you think you would be in a better mood? When it's 70 degrees and sunny, or on a gloomy, cold, rainy day? Many people believe their mood is tied to the weather. However, a fairly large and detailed body of evidence conducted by multiple researchers suggests weather has little effect on mood. Now, there's something called an illusory, it's ILLUSORY, correlation. And that explains why people tend to think nice weather improves their mood. It occurs when people associate two events that in reality have no connection at all. Now, here's the big thing, stress. As you might imagine, stressful daily events at work, a nasty email, an impending deadline, the loss of a big sale, a reprimand from the boss, negatively affects moods. Of course they would. But the effects of stress also build over time. As the authors of one study note, open quote, a constant diet or even low stressful events has the potential to cause workers to experience gradually increasing levels of strain over time. Close quote. Mounting levels of stress can worsen our moods and we experience more negative emotions. It's almost like you're programmed, right? So although sometimes we thrive on stress, most of us, like this blogger, find stress takes a toll on our mood. So, social activities. Social activities can have a dramatic effect on mood and longevity. People in good moods tend to seek out social activities, and interacting socially tends to cause people to be in good moods. The type of social activity also has an impact on the mood. Physical, informal, and Epicurean activities tend to increase mood more than formal or sedentary events. Sleep also affects mood. Sleep-deprived people report greater feelings of fatigue, anger, and hostility. Lack of sleep also impairs decision-making, makes it difficult to control emotions, and can affect job satisfaction the next day. Just think about how you feel after you don't sleep the night before. And then finally, exercise. Look at PowerPoint 414. Exercise. Research has shown that exercise does enhance people's moods positively. This effect is strongest in people who are depressed. It releases endorphins when you exercise, and that's natural stuff coming from your brain, which produces dopamine. Now, positive moods last longer for older individuals, and bad moods tend to fade more quickly. This may be due to the increased emotional experience given by age. The other thing is sex. Many believe women are more emotional than men. So we ask ourselves, is there any truth to this? Evidence does confirm women are more emotionally expressive than men. They experience emotions more intensely, they tend to hold onto emotions longer than men, and they display more frequent expressions of both positive and negative emotions, except anger. Thus, there are some gender differences in the experience and expression of emotions. These gender differences may be caused more by socialization than by innate generic abilities. So, this is the end to the section on the basic emotions.